Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome into the channel. Welcome to another day of Vlogmas, and today I'm doing a video that I really hope will become a tradition on this channel, or just more like an annual happening. And I am reflecting on what I learned about my makeup preferences this year. I posted a video last year, which is like what I learned about my beauty preferences in 2020. I'm going to be talking about all the new things I've learned this year, and only like a small part of this video when we get to each section will be if something has changed since last year. We'll also talk about that. I want to get into it and I want to talk about makeup first, and I first want to talk about some of the observations I learned or made last year and what like the things that I feel differently about from last year. Last year I said that I don't like matte lips and I prefer a gloss or a sheer lipstick. This is still true in the fact that I do like a sheer lipstick, a gloss, those kinds of things, but I have way more room for matte lipsticks than I did last year. I guess what I mean is that I bought a couple of matte lipsticks this year, and in my opinion, when I was thinking about matte lipsticks last year, I was thinking about like the liquid lipstick, and the matte lipsticks that are so dry when you rub your lips together, it's just like uncomfortable. Matte lipstick formulas have come a long way. There are so many that are hydrating and not this like dry crusty formula that might have been the case 4 or 5 years ago. And so I can't say I'm a matte lipstick lover, but I just feel a little bit differently about matte lipsticks than I did last year. I also said that I do like a cream or a liquid blush from last year. My preference has gotten a little bit more specific than last year. I don't think liquid blushes are actually for me, and not just because I bought some, thinking that because I liked cream blushes, I would like liquid blushes. I don't like liquid blushes. I just don't think that they're the formula or consistency for me, simply because they're just like, they're more wet of the creamy kinds of formulas. Last year, I qualified the Glossier Cloud Paint as a liquid. I would not. I think it's more of a cream. Wow, I just did a huge swatch of that. I can understand why I classified this as a liquid, but I just wouldn't anymore. I think it's more of a cream than a liquid. I think creams are for me, liquids aren't. Last year was the year of nudie brown blushes for me, and that was a real revelation for me last year, and a really huge leap from what I liked in the past. And what I can say about this year is that I have come down a bit from that nudie brownie blush kind of obsession. My pendulum just swung so far in that direction. It's kind of come back, you know, more center, and I am way more into the mauve pink blushes than I ever was last year, and I would probably say the mauve pink blush is like the favorite of this year. I also would say I love brow gel way more than I ever did last year. Just a small side note, I guess. When it comes to the subtle eye, that was a term I used last year, which for me is more like the 1 or 2 shadow look, something that's just like really effortless and easy. I agree that I still like that, but I appreciate it way more, and I think I'm much more into it, specifically because I experimented with a lot more looks that were on the other spectrum, which is more like glam or built out looks. And I'm going to show you my eyeshadow today. This is not a subtle eye look for me. It looks a little bit more subtle like when I have my eyes open because of my hooded eyes, but this is more of a glam look, and this was just an eyeshadow look that kind of got away from me. But this is more of a glam type look, not like the most glam look, but I'm saying it's more glam than what I would call the subtle eye or the 1 shadow eye. So it's creating looks like this that have allowed me to really appreciate the more subtle 1 shadow looks. Now let's talk about the new things that I learned this year. First thing is that my gloss formula kind of preference has changed. I prefer an opaque gloss versus the sheer sparkly gloss. I still like a sheer gloss. I think I'm just over the sparkly gloss I'm not a huge fan of those anymore. Like, they're still good, they're just not great. I still like the sheer gloss. I would say I like that more than the sparkly gloss, but I prefer the opaque gloss more, simply because the sheer glosses are just that, they're sheer and they're so subtle on the lips. Like, yes, they're good for every day, but there's just less distinction between color, and I just want a little bit more pop on my lips, and so I prefer the opaque gloss more than the other two formulas. I still love a gloss, and I still think there's a place in my collection for the sparkly and the sheer. I just think that, like, I should only own one sparkly, maybe a couple of sheers, and probably the majority is like the opaque. Another new revelation is that I hate lip oils. This is something I really learned this year. I bought a couple of the Kosas lip oils last year, used, I don't know how many I used last year, but I used a couple up this year, and I've also been panning another lip oil from another brand. I just don't like lip oils. For me, the Merit ones are a little bit of an exception because they're like, they feel more like a lip gloss, and I just think that they're a better formula than the other ones that I've tried. But as a whole, like, I'm not gonna buy any more of the Merit ones. I like the ones that I have, and I think the colors are special. If I treat them like a gloss, they're fine, but they're just not, lip oils are just not the lip category that I like or I really want to own any more of. One of the biggest 180s from last year, which like might be one of the most dramatic shifts that happened this year, is that I love loose powder. Last year I declared that I hate loose powder. I love it. It's a staple in my routine now. I can't believe I'm that person now, when I was so against it last year. And I think that's one of the beauties of this kind of video, is that our makeup preferences change every year, and this is just one of those changes for me. And I just love having that documentation of like, wow, this sucks, and now I'm just so excited about loose powders. I realize I'm just a high-end blush lover. I've kind of need that in the back of my mind. You can get I do think as a whole, high-end blushes, high-end brands make better colors that I like. Like, when I was at the drugstore looking for a particular blush color, I just felt the selection to be wanting. It just, like, across all the brands was not great. I was genuinely disappointed at the offerings of all the brands, and I just think that there's more options, more colors, more exciting things in blushes, specifically at like higher end price points. Another shocking revelation is that I love a hydrating makeup primer. Again, this is so out of left field. I kind of can't believe it. My Pure 4-in-1 primer is probably the favorite primer I've tried this year. I think it's going to be in a makeup favorites. It's kind of amazing. This has just been such an amazing primer for me, and I've loved it big time. Another kind of shock for me is that I have really been enjoying the creamy hydrating concealers, and I've moved away from the matte concealers. Today, I guess I'll show you the look again. I am wearing the Kosas concealer. This one is creasing a little bit more than the NARS Radiant, which I was wearing the other day, that I really loved. I just, like, I loved it. That one is probably like moved into #1 favorite concealer. The Kosas one is also super creamy, but has just like been so good to wear, and I love it. I mean, I bought the Kosas concealer, but I'm pretty sure the reason why I bought it last year is because I wanted to try Kosas, and I don't think I was fully aware as to like how creamy it is, and I'm glad that I have it. But had I been more tuned to my preferences, I don't think I ever would have. The last thing is that I prefer a subtle highlight. I was always into the big glam kind of see it from space kind of highlight. My favorite highlight was Opal by Becca. After spending almost a year with the Hourglass palette, I have come to love the highlight in there. It actually, yeah, it's this strobe powder, an iridescent strobe light. I genuinely love that highlight. It has really shown me how much I love and enjoy a subtle highlight, and it's kind of converted me into the subtle highlight realm. Let's now talk about skincare, because I talked about beauty, well, makeup, and then skin, and then hair. So we'll go to skincare next. Last year I said that I loved facial oils. I no longer do. I would rather have a more glowy, more hydrating moisturizer than a moisturizer and a facial oil. To me, oils just don't really feel like the place I want to put my money and feel like an extra step in the routine. They're not really the place that's going to have those like powerhouse important ingredients. So let's say I just bought a $15 face oil, let's just say, which is pretty affordable. I would rather take that $15 and put that into a good serum and not have a facial oil and then get just like a stronger moisturizer. One of the reasons why I've liked facial oils is because they've helped my moisturizer be more dewy, I guess. Why not just get a dewier moisturizer, skip the facial oil altogether, and then put that money into a better serum? I've also noticed that my facial oils don't always like stick to my face, in the sense like I'll put them on and then I'll sleep and then they kind of come off on my pillow because they just kind of sit there. I've kind of done a 180 on facial oils. I'm gonna use up the one that I have, or the two that I have, and then I think that's just gonna be it for me. Last year I also said that I hated shaving cream. Absolutely not true anymore. I think it's funny that I said it. I really like the shaving cream that I have, and I think I just was like, oh, this is an extra step in the routine I don't need to have or don't need to take, but they do help moisturize your skin and get a closer shave. So it's not like it's a useless product. It's worth having, in my opinion. So one of the preferences that was solidified last year, I think this is one that I was thinking of last year but didn't maybe say, and then after trying some things I've kind of come into my opinion. I don't like cleansing balms. I prefer cleansing oil. I found one that I really like that's really affordable, and I'm just kind of thinking this one is just going to be the staple. I'm pretty sure it's the Palmer's facial oil. I think that's what it's called. I really like it. It's really simple, and I don't need anything special in my facial oils, and I don't think high-end is where I really need to be spending my money in facial oils. In cleansing oils, and I would rather put my money elsewhere. So this one is like $13.99, I think, and it like is gonna last a long time. The last kind of side note thing is that my Clarisonic has officially been dethroned. I haven't really been using it all that much lately. I think that there are better, less abrasive ways to remove my makeup. I didn't use it a whole lot in 2020. I think in the first part I did, but the second part not so much. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to declutter it. I don't think I'm gonna sell it. I don't know if I'll try, because it just kind of seems a little personal to sell that kind of device. And also Clarisonic is going out of business, so she's dethroned. Lastly, I really think that my skin type is changing, because I think my skin is falling more into the normal category. Like when I wake up, my skin is actually feeling dry and tight, and when I get out of the shower too, even though I'm using like a creamy cleanser. So I just think that I need to change up my skin tone. Not my skin tone. I do think I need to change up my skincare routine a little bit. I think that's coming, but that is a big kind of change in the skincare world. But I think it's maybe more seasonal opposed to like permanent. The last category is hair, and the first thing I want to talk about is not so much hair, it's kind of hair adjacent. And this year has been the year of the headband for me. I fell in love with headbands this year, and they have just been super integral in creating my personal style and helping me feel like my most authentic self. It sounds kind of crazy how something like a headband can help me do that, but it's one of the things that I feel like it's one of the easiest ways for me to get that kind of feminine romantic element to my wardrobe in just this super easy, approachable way. I just realized my drawer has been open. It's just the easiest way and the quickest way to make any outfit feel a little bit more romantic, a little bit more feminine. And I'm so thrilled that I discovered headbands, and I think that I need to be a bit like cautious with it because I don't want it to turn into a full-blown obsession. The next thing is that I have become a hair blow dryer kind of person. This is the first time in my life ever, and I mean, like, I haven't owned a blow dryer for like a decade. I have never been a blow drying my hair kind of person. I've always found it so hard and I've never been good at it. After I found that Revlon blow dry brush, everything has changed. Am I Taylor Swift? And everything has changed. I just feel like everything's changed because of it. I did stop using it for a couple of months. My hair was at its shortest. I felt like it was just was too short to use it, but I have been picking it back up again in the last few weeks, actually, when like I can actually pick up my hair with it. I love it, and it makes my hair look so beautiful. It gives it volume. I notice it when I use the blow dry brush. One of the best purchases of the year, and like I have a very small hair care routine, and I'm just like so overjoyed with this whole like hair. I feel like I'm having a hair renaissance, you know? And I'm a hair blow dryer now. Like, it is what it is. Also, I guess kind of an update. I'm officially done with short hair. And not in the I'm impatient, I hate my hair kind of way, but I cut it in September, and I didn't say it out loud because I want to like be sure before I make hair proclamations. I cut it in September for it to be the last time that I cut it, and to me there's just something fun about going through the whole process of like really short hair to long hair. And I don't know how long I want to grow it out, but I'm done with the short hair, and even in a couple of months it's grown out pretty significantly. And I've had short hair for just over 2 years now, and that cut has served me well, and I've really enjoyed having short hair and helped me find a whole new makeup aesthetic that I've really loved. And I'm ready to grow it out. Like, I'm in genuinely no rush. I'm just like not gonna cut my hair anymore, and I actually felt like I would live in this short hair moment longer than I ended up, which is, to me, 2 years is a long time, simply because one of the things I've experimented the most with is my hair. And that's actually something, okay, there's a video that I filmed but just like is not going to go out, which was beauty and style advice I'd give to my younger self. And there is iterations of that video. Like, another subscriber, that was a subscriber suggestion, another subscriber suggested that I talk about like my acne journey, and both of those videos are kind of a similar vein, that just like did not do good things to my mental health. Not in the sense that like I ever regret having acne or any of that. It's just like I reflected on times of my life that were like super traumatic and super like just horrible memories associated with them, and I hated reflecting on them and looking back at them. I just like wasn't a fan. And so I guess all of that is to say, one of the beauty style advice things I wanted to tell my younger self would be to experiment with your hair. That's one of the things that I don't regret looking back with my style. I didn't do much with my style, but I experimented every few months with my hair. I colored it so much. I cut it. Like, I just did so many fun things with it. I truly have no regrets because I've done everything with my hair that I have ever wanted to. And I'm just glad that was something that I did growing up. And so for me, for somebody who changed my hair literally every 4 to 6 months, to have a style that lasted me 2 years is a long time for me. And I'm just like ready to go on into the next hair phase of my life, and who knows how long that will last. The last thing in this category is, last year I said that one of my preferences was to have a couple of different shampoo conditioner options. Like, maybe 2 would be good, so I could have a couple of different options. And I have changed my mind about this, and I probably will again in the future. I actually have 3 different shampoo conditioner combos at the moment. I have like a regular volumizing one. I have a purple shampoo and conditioner like duo, and then I have a hair clarifying shampoo with a hair mask. This is just too much. I want one shampoo and conditioner that is just the staple. Maybe I even change it every time I buy it. It's just something new. If that's what helps me kind of keep the fun in my hair, sure, like I'm down with that. But I just don't want all of these pairs of shampoo and conditioner. It takes up so much unnecessary space. It's overwhelming. I don't need multiples in every category of my life. The only like maybe here is that I could maybe have a third optional clarifying shampoo, but I don't need a matching conditioner. I don't even know how I feel about that, because I'm just kind of feeling over all of this product and I just kind of want it all out. So I don't want options. I'm done with options. All right, those are all my beauty preferences that I learned about this year. I love making this video because I love reflecting on the past year, and also this is one of the most practical videos to film simply because I get to be really intentional about how I think about my makeup, which can then help me shop for new things next year. Because if I don't like facial oils, why would I buy one even if a new brand releases one? And if I want more subtle highlight, if that's the realm that I want to go, this is my preference, I shouldn't be buying any kind of highlight period because I have so much highlight to pan, because I don't like the highlights that I currently have because they're too glowy from Space. You feel me? So that's everything I have for you today. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me for today's video, and I hope to catch you around here soon. Bye.